guys, back with more Psychonauts. Still listening to the podcast.
What's that sound? This hat box needs a hat box tag.
Let's see.
It was never saying die. Things like bidding in the auction for the rock, like always giving everything. And even in the shave vote, like it took a while to understand it because the edit was misselling it to us for sure. But he literally is then realizing 100% correct read, he's gone, going with a 100th option to go to Mark and say, we have some mutual ground here. I don't want to go home. You shouldn't want to flush the idol. Can we do something? I don't know who else he thought was going to be on that plan, but he's trying something.
Yes.
And that's what I liked about it. And it's not just that he was always trying. I love the sportsmanship. I loved him, shaking hands with Dave at the tie, for example, and the way that he went out, and there's more of it on Jury Villa where he walks out and he's like, oh, Redemption Rock, and Jonathan's like, oh, that's the wrong season, you're going to Purgatory. Like, the jokiness of it more than the Joker, kind of like the kindness in the battle, the fact that I asked him about, trying to come up against the idol life for so long, and he was like, I was laughing at how ridiculous it was. Like, for me, that fun of it beyond the shtick is what I really enjoyed about Toby.
I get you.
Yeah, so a little bit sad. He had a big week though, I will say, before he went. And we had a lot of questions about the first vote. And I thought this first vote was really interesting because it was a 3-2-2. With an idol being flushed, with the choice between what was given as two different threats in Geordie and Dave, who was now a threat. Because he made like a couple of good moves last week, and he did make a couple of good moves. Now he's super threatening. KJ is flipping on the revote. So there's a lot happening, and I know we had a lot of questions about this. Like, obviously Josh, that's obvious. Like, he's flushing the vote and voting out Dave. Shay, he's flushing the idol. She's flushing the idol as well and voting out Dave. Geordie's doing the same thing, and then Dave's obviously just coming for Geordie the whole time. But then we had questions about like KJ flipping, Chrissy votes for Geordie and then Dave, and Mark's voting for Dave. So we had a lot of questions on those votes. Did you have any like major takeaways on what you had thought had happened and then vote afterwards?
I feel like with KJ, I thought that she just went with what she thought would be the most likely thing. I don't think she really cared whether it be three or Dave. I think she just kind of went with the flow. Mark makes so much sense to me to go for Juicy when he feels like he doesn't have the numbers to get out Geordie at that time. Josh is all over the place. Josh is very inconsistent, it seems, with the edit. But then he still voted with Mark. It's really hard to get a feel for how these people actually feel. I'm just pretty baffled by it. I actually don't have a ton of input for this particular vote because I'm a little confused myself. Mostly with Chrissy. I don't understand that.
Well, I try to pull out theories from nowhere. So in terms, let's start with Chrissy because we had questions about it. So Chrissy votes for Geordie and then Dave. My assumption is that she never broke from Josh because the vote for Geordie is obviously going against Josh and Josh's plan, and we know that they are the tightest pair that is left in the game. My assumption is that when Josh comes to her and is like, we've done this together, we're going to split the vote. I think he's put Chrissy's vote on Geordie because that's trademark Josh to double split against two idols. The only weird thing about it was that it wasn't on KJ. I think that's the only reason we're confused. It wasn't one vote on KJ, it was one vote on Geordie. I don't see Chrissy as ever departing from Josh's plan or slipping from it and then flipping back to Dave. And then when she says, like, I could be in trouble for that voting for Dave, possibly is that now the true allegiance is revealed. If she voted for Geordie, maybe she could make it look to someone like KJ that she was always in kind of against Geordie on that non-reward plan. So if I'm going to start by answering one question about the confusion, I would think that's what's happening with Chrissy.
That makes so much sense.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a theory taken from nowhere. But as you know, as someone who listened to me while you were on the show, I just throw things out and like 30% of the time I hit, and that's the point of the podcast.
You have some phenomenal takes where I remember being like, she gets me. Yes, that's what it was. And I can't say anything.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that's okay. That's Chrissy. In terms of KJ, we'll talk about it. Hers is clear. It's just maybe a little bit more confusing. So she does flush the idol. She votes for Mark, and they're all put on that vote. We'll talk about the split on that. And then she flips to Geordie. She's on the non-reward plan. We see that being spoken about with her and Dave and her and Mark. This is a lot from KJ for me, because the crazy thing is, had KJ wanted Geordie out, which she goes with on the revote, it's a 3-2-2. She can do it. If she votes with Geordie on the first vote, they risk Mark not flushing the idol, because it's not a majority on him. But Geordie's gone home, so she's actually flipped in the revote. And I don't mind that from KJ, because KJ kind of knows she has space to move. No one's targeting her. She really well vocalizes that the men absolutely are only coming for each other, and that they can kind of sneak through. And I love that vocalization and that read and that plan. So she has space to move. And kind of as long as any of the guys are going out, it's probably fine for her. But for me, to flip in the middle of the boat, again, big swings, but you do you have space, but it's the read that no one else goes with it, and then awkwardly, like, she flipped on her ally, which she gets done in the next episode, but no one else had done it. Like, that misread for me is the miss, but I don't mind her taking swings as long as it has the basis of that good read.
I'm curious if she's like the only one who actually did have the correct, I guess not the read of the room or the tribal council, but following through with the plan, because we can only assume that she's being honest. When she goes up to Dory and says, I thought that was
Just started one, right?
fantastic.
Yeah, only 5 minutes.
So I'm assuming they had discussed the idea of a tie, and, you know, she maybe prioritized Mark and his idol way more threatening, way more important to get rid of the idol than to get rid of me, even though I'm over Geordi, I'm over that alliance, the redemption thing is done, or not redemption, Purgatory 3 is done.
Pretty much redemption.
And then, and then, you know, now that she's done her duty, but maybe the actual human being she wanted gone, Geordi, Mark had brought it up to her earlier in the day.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with this because this must be what everyone's going to do. She just must not have the social capital to be privy to the idea that Juicy is who Mark really wanted, but I think she was actually following through with Mark's plans. I really do.
It makes a lot of sense because
This is some hot dirt right here. We'll be able to blackmail her with this for
Josh has his own
years.
thing sorted, he might vote today, but she thinks she has Mark and Chrissy who applies a non-reward group, which is a horrible...
How's she gonna make the money she needs to pay us from jail?
I don't have more for that, but she thinks that I can see how
was the one who sent her up the river.
Hey, don't worry. We'll
So I get her logic,
protect
but
you or
also
something.
awkward to be the only person who doesn't do it. I mean, Chrissy's voted on the vote before. It is very unfortunate that we see where how she thought that would happen. And I don't just like the read, like for her, Jordy should go. Like Jordy's a big threat. Like Josh has his own thing with Jordy, he doesn't want him to go. Jordy has his own relationship, which I think is obviously
Not a chapter of which I am particularly proud. Hey, she was forced into the outlaw life. Not that part. I just meant nobody likes a snitch.
Like I get it, but it was really uncomfortable that she was the only one. But we see it.
There you are, all safe and sound again.
KJ, I love KJ's story.
Thank you, young
I don't know
man.
why, but I do.
You were a
Maybe she
little
did.
loud for my liking, but you got the job done.
And now you'll help me with those bees?
Oh, are you scared of bees? Well, I know of one place where you'll feel completely safe.
Hey! Put me down! Of all the double-crossing...
This was all part of the plan.
It was?
Yup. And I thought I was the tricky one. Oh my, we've come to a bad place. No, it's perfect. How is it perfect? Any place is perfect when we're all together. Well, I haven't seen you in a while. We should never have let her split us up. When we're together, nothing is impossible.
Well, that tears it.
I hate to damage a book, of course. But that last line was too corny, even for a motivational speaker. We're not going to let you control us anymore. Oh, and which one of you thinks you should be in charge? None of you could stop Maligula. None of you could protect your friends. I am the real Cassiopeia. And I'll show you how we fight off a foreign invader.
Get ready for the shushing of your life! Hey, where's my PR
She's a flight attendant. That's what it is. I love me some flight attendants.
I love that. If you had enough flight attendants to do a returning season where it's like flight attendants versus pilots, we've got Josh, and they'll just talk about being a pilot just every day.
I know. Like, we would have T-Bird, me, Todd.
What an incredible tribe.
I know it. Katie, the winner of the season, who's the winner? The short guy.
Jericho's a flight
Jericho,
attendant.
he's a flight attendant. Yeah.
Every time people are like, I want to lie about being a lawyer or a psychologist, people should be lying about being a flight attendant. That's like the most successful
I know it. I know it. And so what's funny is when I said I was a flight attendant to Erica, she specifically, she paused. She stopped moving. Because it was our first time speaking after she got back from the Hourglass Island. And we were walking to the water well. This is our first time really bonding. I already have safety. She's safe. And I felt like we were just going to like grow up really quickly under great circumstances. And I'm telling her, like, oh, I'm a flight attendant. She stopped. She said, Todd is my favorite player in the history of Survivor.
Get that gate open.
I like you, but I don't know if we can work together then. Because you can't be, I don't want you to beat me. Like, we had a moment where it actually changed how she viewed me. The fact that I was a gay flight attendant. And I was like, shit. What should I have done then? Whatever. But yeah, no,
Oh my gosh.
Let me
It's
in
such a
there.
successful profession. And the thing is, like, that's a small sample size for all the people doing well, but it makes sense. It's like people who are obviously used to dealing with humans in their absolute worst state and having a smile on their face while they deal with these extremely stressful situations. Like, Survivor is like a flight, and flight attendants are the people who manage that.
Yeah.
This is like a revelation that I'm having.
There it is. New season after US versus Australia.
Yeah.
Then we can have the flight
Riders are
crew.
most effective when we get
Yeah, the flight crew, that's so good. US versus Australian flight attendants. That's what we'll do. We're getting very specific. I love that. And you don't even have to talk the whole time about I'm flying the plane and so just get it done. That's the other thing. That's the difference. Yeah, so KJ, we see it. Mark is the question. Mark is the biggest question that we got. Because Mark on the first vote. So it's a 3-2-2, and the Mark, I don't think he possibly knows where his numbers are going. He's a primary. But if he had voted for Geordie, he can send Geordie home, and it's obviously been Geordie versus Sam and Mark for so long. He votes for Dave, goes for 3-2-2, could have been 3-1 for the Idol Flash, and Geordie goes home, and even had it been as they thought, I think that like Josh was planning to know where Dave was going to vote. I thought he thought that Dave was going to be on the Flash, it was going to be 4-2-1. It ends up being 3-2-2, even if it had been 4-2-1. Mark changes from Dave's Geordie goes home, 2-1, instead of what would have been Dave. So he has control there. And then on the revote, obviously there are no numbers there to vote for Geordie. It's just KJ. But again, he votes for Dave. We get a lot on this. We hear from Mark that he thinks Dave is the biggest threat now. He says that in his episodes, kind of like his threat level. Why do you think that he was set on Dave in these votes?
You know, I was thinking about something that Sam said a long time ago when Khan got his idol. And it was something along the lines of, when there's an unknown variable, that's more worrisome than a known variable. And I don't think they're saying Dave as gameplay Dave is the bigger threat. I think the unknown flip-floppiness of him, where is he voting today? I think that does make him a bigger threat. I actually do believe if I was to put my ego aside and focus on not who what I'm bad at, Jordy, but get rid of Dave, because I at least know Jordy is never going to flip for coming
What's
against
this do here?
Dave. I will never actually know. I will never know his views. I will never know if he's going to
Oh,
be or
wait.
not with me.
This is an
I
edit.
would rather
I'm a
just
fucking
be-
idiot.
I actually fully agree with Mark going with Dave or Jordy. Because you know Jordy's going to be coming for him next week anyway. Like, that's not
Yeah,
going to
it's a
change.
known variable.
Yeah, and Dave does have pretty decent relationships we see with Josh and with Chrissy, and so he must see that they chit-chat, and, you know, I'm sure it's come up at some point, Josh telling Mark that, oh, Dave really is kind of coming for you, he wants you out this week, he thinks you're a threat, he thinks we should be turning against you. All of that must have added up for him to prioritize Dave, and I think it was 100% right.
Yeah, I love your point on that. Because let's look at this from two angles. The first is Mark is making these active decisions, and if he is, and he's chosen Dave, and I think that there are reasons to take out Dave. As you're saying, it is the question mark. And when I spoke to Dave in the exit, he was saying that they were scared that because he was really good with Chrissy, they were scared that he was going to pull Chrissy over. And that would be horrible for someone like Josh. Even Mark kind of like is sitting in those numbers right now with some form of protection. So I think that the question mark of Dave, that's there. And then I think as well for Josh and Mark, you do get that extra layer of Geordie being a shield. You're going to have to take him out at another round. Someone like Dave would fly by. Let's get the Dave and the girls. We just take out what I think are the clear three top threats of Mark, Josh, and Geordie. You take Dave out of that and kind of give yourself some space to take Geordie out in the next round. I see that, if that's his agency. I think I'm still leaning to take out Geordie. I think like Mark has enough of a shield. He's still got an idol. He still has those relationships. He still has Josh as a shield. He's still got some room to move. And Geordie is just such a big vocal threat. If he gets to the end, he will win. I think in the best story. And during the they gave him a standing ovation when he walked in. We haven't seen that response yet. And he can always win challenges. Like for me, it's getting down to the wire. I still take out Geordie. And I also think that I mean, it would have been him taking out Geordie with an idol and his vote, and I think that would have been really powerful, especially when we talk about how Geordie ended up leaving. I know he wanted to be the ghost of Jesse Idol, but if this had happened, I think it would have looked really powerful. It had been a battle for so long, so for Mark to really take ownership and step into that move, I don't know how much he knew. Again, he wouldn't have known the numbers, but if he knew even a little bit of how much power his vote and idol could have in that moment, I think that would have been really powerful to take out Geordie. So I think there would have been, a lot there if he'd done it. And I think the way Geordie goes in the end is is a lot less powerful for the future of Mark's game.
Something's not right.
So there's things there, but then there's also the question, and this is where I'm leaning to it. I do think that Mark makes the decision, but also how much does Mark know? Like again, like he doesn't have the numbers on the reboot. I don't know if he even knows that he has a say on the first vote. Like Josh might be telling him that it's all Dave or all voting for Dave. So I don't even know if he knows that he's the primary on the vote. And I really do have to credit Josh a lot this week. But in general, Josh is the one throwing Dave out from the beginning. In that first conversation we see with Mark and then at the reward, Dave does not work for Josh's plans. He's not at all involved in this like cross-alliance connection with Jordy and the people they're protecting. So I do actually credit Josh a lot in like pushing this vote and having the most control by far and putting Dave out there from the beginning. Yeah, so that I think was really impressive. What are you thinking about Josh? Like, I know it's hard because it has been, but we're getting a little bit more. But we have 2 episodes of confessionals until episode 14. So these are the things that we talk about when we talk about
not the real Cassie.
what did you think about his game? And also, like, particularly
you
this week.
are.
I thought he had a big week.
And so
I think
am
Josh had a
I.
great week, but
Me
it's
too.
still showing
Mostly when we
me
need money.
that he's
Hey,
not
I'm pretty good in a
great at
fight.
cooking.
Really?
I'm really hung up on him saying that he made a deal in the middle of tribal council with Jordy. Like, I don't know why that bothers me so much, but him saying, like, I made a deal with him and I kept my word to it. It's like, why are you saying this out loud? Even if maybe you told a person or two, I just didn't see why he made that comment. And he looked like he kind of wanted to take it back. Also, edit-wise, I'm just confused with Josh because I'm being told
real
he's running the show. I'm being told he's the kingpin, but I'm
sure.
not seeing it. I see
But
it with
I'm
Sam.
sure
I see
she's
it
in
with
here
Jordy. I see it
somewhere.
in so many different places, but
Now
I'm
then,
not seeing it with
Did you
Josh.
say something
even though
about
he's
my
strong.
bees?
Okay.
Oh my. They really aren't behaving, are they? That's it. I'm all out of bee puns, I promise.
Think you can do something about them?
I'll try. But I feel like I've
Am I a potato?
lost a little control of them. Oh, how I wish my old partner were here.
I think they just need a nap.
Oh, Bully! How did you know I needed you?
A little bird told me. Oh, sorry, I should say 3 little bees.
Well then, think we can get this swarm to stand down?
I do. Bedtime for bees. So, how's production?
Jars of honey and no one to give it to. Come on.
He has a great emotional tie to the audience now with his baby announcement, but we didn't even hear anything about it until that moment.
Yeah.
And which very much reminds me of like My Heart of Hearing.
Is this like the point of
It's like,
return?
you don't know that that's a struggle throughout my whole journey in the game.
I'm gonna do it
All of a sudden
anyway.
you just get it for an emotional moment.
I have a
And
feeling
that makes
Oh,
me
fuck, wait, I just realized we had
want
stuff
us
to upgrade,
really
didn't we?
have this emotional
Sure
tie to
I'm
Josh
ready
throughout
for
this
this?
season.
Yeah, actually, let's see
Why
now.
is this not something
I
that
forgot
like
we
we're
have stuff to
seeing him
upgrade.
being stressed all the time? You know what I'm
Maybe
saying?
I should make sure I'm really
So
prepared.
I'm overall confused. with
That's
Josh's
why there's all
edit.
this shit here.
I love that he's really tight with Chrissy. I love that he has a number one and he seems to
Alright,
really
I
be
still
sticking
have
with her,
nothing.
and he's lucky that she's his number one because she has not. I was like going through her Wikipedia, her Survivor Wikipedia. Like she hasn't voted against somebody that she's like really promised allegiance to, really at all. Maybe one vote. She's been a solid number, and even when she doesn't agree with the plan and she doesn't want someone to go, she just goes a slightly different way and doesn't do the plan, but she allows it to continue forward. I just love Chrissy and him as a duo. I think they're really great. But
Is it time to take a
I don't
spin in
know.
the
I just
brain
don't really know
tumbler?
where I land with Josh because I can't think of
I want
him
to go to the collective.
having. I can't think of a situation
So,
where
like,
he's
that's the
really had
grind, right?
control or talked in a confessional about a move he wants to make that isn't suggested by someone else, and he either follows through with it or doesn't.
I think this week was where we saw the most active power happening in like specific moves. Before now, firstly, the edit has been shocking for Josh. I mean, in general, for other people, like KJ's edit is even crazier. KJ's edit, I was looking at the confessional chart and just laughing at the horribleness. It's like 0001, 0012, 005, like it's crazy. But for Josh, and I've said this last week, like the fact that they can so cleanly tell the story of the alpha male and they chose not to for 14 episodes, and they make him a non-entity to us as someone who was down the final 5, at this point I think has the best shot of winning at the end, should have a pathway, has been a powerful player, has controlled this the whole time, and hasn't been shown to us, and they could have. Did have a baby announcement on the show. Like, this historic moment, and they chose not to. It will always be. It is, I think, probably the most baffling edit I've ever seen in Australian Survivor. Not that other edits haven't been worse, even in the season, but the fact that I know it's a story they can and have told, and that they chose not to, will always confuse me. But with Josh's game, like, you have to look a little deeper, I think, because it wasn't given to us, and it was earlier on in the merge that they were saying, Josh is really smart, and he's running the votes, and you would hear little things he was saying, and I was like, he's splitting the votes correctly, like, I can see that it's smart, but it's been transparent. That's the thing, he'll tell you you're going home. It's a very, like, old school game like that. I've compared it to, like, Andrew Savage, for example, of, like, we're gonna do the thing I'm gonna tell you, and if something comes back, it might come back on Josh, and it might have had you don't want immunity with KJ's advantage.
Alright, let's just pause.
Of course it still works. Otto over-engineers everything.
So how much do we have
I think
left?
that's the nicest thing you've ever said about me.
Otto, you're looking well fed.
Ford, you sound like your old self.
Well, some things are clear to me now that weren't before. But come on, there's a lot to be done.
But yeah, this will be the last episode, though, I think. I'm, like, not feeling the greatest to begin with. And,
Ford! Ford, is it really you?
Relatively soon.
Cassie! Compton!
Yeah, so we have 3 more levels left.
I'm happy to see all of you again.
What's Nick from the mailroom doing here?
That's actually Helmet Fullbear's brain in Nick's body.
I do love making a grand entrance.
Sounds like Fullbear.
He's in there, all right.
So we're pretty close to the end. I'm trying to think. So, this will probably be the last episode for today. Like, I technically could do one more, but I just don't know if I care enough. And then, yeah, maybe record tonight. We'll see.
Hey, I remember this place.
Tomorrow, I gotta record the BB Can video in the morning. Might have a little bit of time after that, and then
Lucy.
We'll see about tomorrow night. And Saturday is probably an ideal. We'll see. Whatever. Anyway, like, I would like to finish this by Monday.
Everybody ready? Now, this hunk of junk was made by Auto Mentalis. So, there's no telling what might happen.
Oh, what can I say? I was underfunded back then.
But if everything goes well, we might be able to have our dear friend Lucrecia back in the circle. For good. Now, you ready?
Kind of.
You too, kid.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to present to you the high-flying, death-defying, ironically named Aquato Family Circus. Augustus, Don Leon, Crazy, Rasputin, Murtala, and little baby Creepy. And the most important member of the family, one who's been here the whole time. Nona Aquato, right where she belongs, in the heart of her family.
What is this? It's a mental construct I made for Lucy to convince her that she was your grandmother and that she lived with you. Come on, it's time to get her out of here. Ew! What did you step in?
I don't know. It looks like a puddle of goo. With a mask of me in it.
Has anyone seen my brother? He was just standing here a second ago.
Ah, here he is.
Oh, well, come on, Raz. It's showtime.
You better play along with this, Raz. We don't want to upset the construct until we have control of the situation. I'll work on Nona.
So according to this playthrough, we have like 3 hours left. But that seems a bit long.
Yeah, get moving. You're holding up the show. Don't be afraid, Ross. Yeah, come on, chicken. Leon, please, it's just a baby. Let me do it. This is the only way to learn. Yeah, get on that ball, Ross.
Can Donatella balance her duties as a mother with the demands of the circus? Join her at the Razorback Arena and witness this incredible balancing act in person.
You know, everyone in some capacity has worked against him in the space of 5 minutes.
Step right up to the wheel of engagement and behold,
Give me your wisdom.
Crazy and Augustus Aquato. One will live, one will die. Maybe. Who knows? Only one way to find out.
It's transparent, but it works. He's openly in the middle. Everyone wants to work with him.
See the strongest boy on earth, Creepy Aquato.
Chrissy's protected, and we'll talk about what she's doing, but she's not targeted either. He gets out the big challenge for Jordy.
Waits that are frankly quite alarming.
2 idols. Which again, a lot of them on Mark talk about it. And he's back in the majority. Technically, the last Chrissy's the final 5. Like, yeah, like that was a really impressive 2 episodes.
I think what's tough is, yes, that definitely sounds impressive, but I guess there's not really a but here. It's just weird for me where the other players are in such desperate spots, or are goats, in the sense of how people love to call people goats, that they just kind of need him, but he's not necessarily dictating stuff. He's going with like, oh, Mark needs somebody because easily Mark could be a target, and Jordy needs something because he could easily be a target, and so he's just kind of choosing which way to go, which I guess technically gives him a powerful position, but he's not really dictating
Round and
anything.
round the wheel goes. Will Crazy kill her papa? No one knows.
He just happens to have enough leeway and enough
I predicted
grace.
whichever
He's given
one
enough grace for
successfully
his moves
completed
against
the
certain
nearly
people that they're like, well, you know, I need you, so it's fine you voted out my wife, Ben. Oh, it's fine that you tried to come for me because I need you right now. And so that's where I'm kind of struggling. I 100% could see him as a winner. Is that it still is confusing.
No, yeah.
It's still very, very confusing. But I see both ways. I really do. I think he's just in a position of power out of convenience.
I mean, I see both parts of that. Edit-wise, he's ruled out of winner contention for me, which is so frustrating for a few reasons, and that I don't want anyone to be ruled out of winner contention as a final 5 for me. And he, again, continues to be last in who I think would win. It's because even KJ, who's had a worse edit, I feel like maybe they struggle to tell like a admittedly quiet story, whereas they never struggle with Josh's story. So I can't see it. I'm frustrated by it because I think a lot of the problem with the edit, because we think that other poll to Mark and Sam, and they didn't have that even like because he should have been that kind of counter force. And we have Jordy in the show back in like a 3-way counter with
This one's
Josh
pretty.
and Jordan were always missing from that kind of pair dynamic and from that like, kind of winning contention. So now with Jordy gone, and especially with Sam gone, there's a bit of a vacuum that I think Josh should have been taken up. So from an edit perspective, he is last week. From a game perspective, he should have, I think, some real chances. And when you talk about need, I see both sides. Jordy does need him. We'll talk about Jordy doing something that Mark needs him too. They need these shields, they need these relationships. And it's not like he's playing them in that. Like, that is the credit to them and their active gameplay. But I still think that, like, you have to credit Josh to a degree in that. Like, I do think there's some positioning in that. I think there's some relationship building in that. He's also reciprocating those relationships where they need him and he's there, and he brings assets that make him something that they value. And a couple of things. The fact that both Mark and Geordie have like the same confessional about how Josh's immunity is good for them. When in 6 hours, Geordie's gonna go home and Mark's gonna flush an idol and it was bad for both of them. I thought that was really impressive. And even a little thing, the fact that they both think he's Harvey Dent is stupid, and for some reason, this whole season is a Batman product placement. But like, it's funny to me because they're both like, yeah, the Dark Knight and Harvey Dent. We did get a comment that Mark should be saying the Dark Knight, and now I can't see it. But like, the Joker and Harvey Dent, and like, he just proved you both. Like, you both lost out in the last couple of he was actually controlling the whole thing. Like, I actually do think that.
Oh, you can jump with this.
In terms of like people putting the plans into action, like Dave, I think he's all him. As a person who's like least important to him, I think that's what mostly Dave suffers for. We have some other things like Mark kind of blaming Dave for, Sam going home, and then some of the revenge and some of the things we're saying is why Mark would want that for sure. But like, Josh has the most to gain by Dave going home. Because he's the least close to Dave, he's protecting Geordie's people, and he's protecting his own people, and Dave's just not a part of that. So I think Dave suffers that closeness to Josh, and that control, I would say, is why Dave goes. And I think that is like the perfect move for Josh, who's still using that Geordie connection until he can win in that interaction in the next round.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I do think that is impressive. But you mentioned Chrissy, and they are such a high pair. It's kind of amazing that they aren't being targeted, and even Chrissy is not being targeted. Because they're easily the tightest pair in the game. She's openly helping him with an immunity challenge. Like, I wanted to get your take on that, because I think, like, Chrissy has been really social, and that's been, like, the MO, is just kind of connecting with people. To help him with the immunity challenge, I think was, like, such an active move. So what did you think about that?
Immediately when I saw her helping, because she had a pretty awesome opening to that episode. Like, we got to hear a lot of her input. Like, we had a great confessional from her, and I was like, oh no, why are we hearing so much from Cassie? Are they either starting a random ass winner edit for her, or is she going home? And then when they were in the challenge and she started helping, I immediately frantically texted Sean. I said, oh my god, it's Chrissy going home today, because I thought that was the biggest flop. What was she doing? Why would she do that so often? I was really confused. To promote yourself as being willing to stop in the middle of this puzzle to help somebody else, and somehow she didn't go. I was pretty baffled by it. So I guess I don't have too much input on how could it have been perceived, or what would have been the better decision. Like, could she have shouted over to Mark as well? I don't know, because Mark thought of it as actually great too, which confuses me. I would be confused. That confuses me why Mark is okay with this. But it stood out enough to me that I thought that it was really good. Must not have been a great thing.
Well, I think that Chrissy, and what we said about KJ could apply to Chrissy, which is like, they aren't targeting her, and we see in Jury Miller that they call what I assume is a 3-women vote, right? Like, they can't all be ghosts, but they could all sit next to each other, and we'll talk about that possibility, which I would love. The 3 women, for a few reasons, sat at the end together, so many parts that would be great. But there's room to play. There's room to play big when there's so much focus on other people. We talk about KJ taking the big swing. Chrissy's swing was in helping her ally Josh, who could be 100% a target in a way that she's not targeted for reasons. He could be taken out that night, and she helps him with immunity when she's too far behind the puzzle then to win. I liked this big move, because I think she gets very much to protect that hair, and like how important Josh's relationship and immunity is to her. Chrissy is not targeted maybe because they fear someone they want to sit next to at the end, but again, if it's a 3 women, I think it's a pretty open field. Maybe because the women do want to sit with her, so they're not going to come for her, so she's kind of insulated to that degree, so she can play big, and I like that you have it in such a public vocal way, which it has to in the nature of the challenge. Because it's different from the game thing, which is tricky, which is social, which is social, which is kind of different, like slower moves. But yeah, I kind of like people just being like, yeah, let's do it, like, let's just, like, maybe it won't work out, maybe I'm putting a target on my back, but like, still no one's really looking at me, and like, let's kind of use like the shadows which we have to work within that.
I guess what concerns me for her, and what actually came to fruition, it's no, like, this doesn't matter. But in that moment, if I was Chrissy, I would not have done that, because let's say, in the end, we have somebody who's stronger than Josh, somebody more of a target than Josh, but in community, we have Mark with his idol. Now, if the target is Josh at all, and it could be very easy for you to weaken Josh, because people love taking out your bestie to weaken you. She could have been in the line of fire. Very unlikely, but still, it's something that I feel like you need to be thinking about actively all the time. And I know Chrissy is very new to Survivor, and so maybe that's just not on her mind. I don't know, but it's something I wouldn't have done. I would not have done that. I'm grateful that she is still in the game, because she is a joy to watch. I absolutely love her. If you want to call her a goat, she's the best goat of all time, because I freaking love her, and she's enjoyable, and she kicks ass in challenges. She's really not just being dragged along. I am impressed by her gameplay. I absolutely am. Just a little dangerous. Just a little dangerous, Chrissy.
Yeah, I mean, Chrissy being a target is a big part of this week because the Purgatory, which is what I'm calling the Purgatory, what I'm calling, so they came in as a 4, right? So Dave, Jordy, and KJ, which is what I'm calling that new duo. I spent my whole night just trying to come up with little names.
Oh my god, you get so confused. Okay.
So the 4 come in, and they have a majority, and then obviously immediately cracks, as we talked about, but 2 of them go, and the minority of what is at that time is Mark, Josh, and Chrissy, who shouldn't have even been aligned, because obviously Josh is voted out of Sam. That 3 have wrestled back the numbers, and I think a large part of that is also, okay, so Josh was immune the whole time. It ends up being that way. Mark has 2 idols, he's immune the whole time. The only person that the Purgatory could have gone for was Chrissy. And I don't think that was a good option for them. Like, I don't think they wanted to. And is that maybe her perception, which is good, unfortunate, is she seen as beatable? Okay, maybe, but again,
Where's the high guy?
there are permutations where it might work out. Is she seen as a valuable asset to KJ and Shay, who obviously make up a lot of that Purgatory? Yes. So, I think that she brings value to people in a way that they don't want to target, and I think that being that workable and having that much space is a big reason of why this 4 cracked. Like, obviously they want to come for each other, and by the end they're all voting for each other. Jordy votes for Shay, and KJ and Shay vote for Jordy. KJ's already flipped on Jordy. Dave and Jordy are flipping from the first moment, but they have their own stuff going on. But Chrissy not being what they see as a viable option for reasons that maybe work for and against her game, I think is a big part of this. And if Josh is vulnerable, at that point it's in the 6. Even then, actually, I don't think that they're going for Josh because he's made this side deal with Jordy. So the way that Chrissy and Josh have covered that 4 and coming back in this minority, the relationship with Mark, side deals, basically in the fact that
So I think what we're gonna do, we'll do this, see what happens, and then call it a day. Like we'll do the high guy.
What am I doing?
Okay.
Ford, our circus didn't have a quilting area.
I didn't make this. I created that 2-bit flea circus to make Lucy forget who she was. But it looks like she escaped.
Come on, Crowley, Stinky Dam is over this way.
What? Wow. Guess you learn a thing or two when you live with fleas.
Are we still? I feel like this is a good spot to end. We'll end here. So next time, continue on. For now, thanks for watching.